let's talk about the impact of the scheme to steal 5 districts out of Texas, 5 congressional districts from Black and brown communities. I've talked a lot about Black political power being lost, but there's also going to be an impact on Latino political power as well, especially in the Houston area. This is Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia. You probably have seen her on the news a lot because she has been leading the effort and the response and the calls for transparency in response to the ICE shooting that happened in her district. ICE murdered a man in her district, the 29th. The 29th was originally created to be a Latino opportunity district. It had a majority Latino population. They had the opportunity to pick the candidate of their choice. Initially, they actually picked a white Democrat. He was in the seat for many years. Once he retired, Sylvia Garcia ran and won in 2019. And so what we see is because they had a chance to pick the candidate of their choice, they picked a strong advocate who's out here advocating for the community and challenging ICE in the story that's being told. What if I told you that area, if we don't get out here and vote and raise red flags and let people know, the area where this shooting happened could be represented by a Trump-endorsed Republican starting in January. Yeah. So when they came through and stole and redrew districts, they took the Houston East End, which is majority Latino and Democratic. They took that and piled that into this new district called the new ninth. The ninth used to be in the South. They've moved it to the East. And they created this district in an interesting way. Their goal was, they claimed, we're creating districts that give conservative Latinos an opportunity to pick the candidate of their choice, an opportunity to pick a Republican candidate, right? So what they do is they pull what really are Democratic areas in Sylvia Garcia's district, but they have low turnout there. They piled those in. They also pile in a lot of people, a lot of communities that have under 18s that can't vote yet, or people who are non-citizens, permanent residents or what have you, who also cannot vote. So when you pull the data for the new ninth, it looks and reads like a majority Latino district. But when you get down to the nitty-gritty of who can vote and who actually does vote, it is possible the new ninth that we have a smaller portion of Latinos that actually end up voting and deciding who gets to be the representative in this district. And so I actually met the new candidate. This is Leticia Gutierrez, who is a Democratic nominee for the Texas 9th. She's running against Alex Miller. If you're from Harris County, you know Alex Delmore Miller, who ran against Lena Hidalgo to be county judge, and she lost and was a bitter Betty for years because of it. She cannot go to Congress. She cannot replace literally Al Green. This is Al Green's seat that got moved to the east. She be replacing Al Green in Congress, y'all. We can't let that happen. So we want to continue to have a strong advocate for the east part of Houston and east part of Harris County. That means getting out here and donating and voting for and rallying behind Leticia Gutierrez. I actually saw her the day after this the ICE shooting happened. And so she was talking about the efforts that she was doing in her own community and her own family as well to respond to what was happening. Like, it's very clear to me that she will be an advocate just like Sylvia Garcia. The other thing, too, when I first met her, I met her at the Houston Black American Democrats brunch. She had just won her primary. She was super excited, just, great energy, all that. And she told me, do you know who carried me through? It was a very crowded field. She won outright. She had no runoff. She said, Black women in my area are how I won. Black women showed up for me, and that's how I won my primary. She's like, Black women I had organized with for years, that I knew for years, they came and voted for me and brought 5 friends along as well. So she was very grateful to Black women showing up for her in that primary, and it made a difference. So I'm mentioning that here because she's going to need Black women to show up for her in November. We won this district in 2018. This new ninth, when Beto was on the ticket, this area was blue. So it's not impossible that they didn't create this ironclad red district. It's not impossible. So people need to understand that we have to start getting people out and energized behind this seat on their ballot come November. Because if we want to respond to what happened in this area, Alex Miller cannot be the member of Congress for this area. So I'm reaching out to her to see if I can get her on TikTok live here soon. Talk about her campaign and what's happening in the area now as well. So I'll keep you all updated on that. But I think she's awesome. And I just want people to know about what's going on. And there are real impacts to these stolen districts. There are going to be real impacts to Black and brown communities all across the state.